Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial on easy project with only HTML and CSS. In today's video, we are going to create a beautiful moving animated circle like this. Alright, without wasting time, let's get started. The first thing to do is to create a folder. So I'm just going to create my folder here. I'm just going to right click and you're selecting a folder and I'm going to name it animation. Feel free to name it anything, but it's better you name it with what you're creating. So I'm just going to double click on the folder. I will tap outside here, then I'm going to say CMD. This is just to bring up my the command prompt. Then I'm going to type code space to enable me this project to open on VS Code. So after that, you are going to create a file. You see that we created here, so just tap and then you are going to get a new file. And you're going to create an index.html file. Right. After that, you are going to bring up, we're going to create a HTML structure, and the easiest way to do that is by clicking shift on the keyboard and then press number 1. Then hit enter and you have it this way. So the next thing I'm going to edit the title and I'm going to call it smooth animation. So now we're going to create a div with a class of container, and that is that. After that, I'm going to create another div inside this parent div, and it's going to have an ID of a circle. I call it a circle. You can call it anything. I call it a circle because is this is popping circle, so I decided to call it circle. So that I'm going to say div, and I'm going to give it an ID. I'm going to give it an ID of circle. Alright. So after that, we are going to style it. This is the only thing we need in the HTML. We are going to style it, and to do that, we need to create another file, which is going to be a CSS file called style.css. After that, we are going to, okay guys, don't forget to link your CSS to HTML so you will be able to get the design visible. Alright, and to link our CSS, we just have to say link, and then we're going to do dot slash, and you're going to see the CSS. We're going to link it. We're good to go, guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick this circle and style it. We're going to pick it and style it. And since it's an ID, we're going to use hash to style it. Remember, if it's a class, we're going to use dot, but because it's an ID, we're going to use we're going to use hash, sorry, and then with the class with the ID we just copied, which is circle. So I'm just going to do that. Next, we are going to style it. We're going to style it, and what we're simply going to do is we're going to give it a width, and it's going to be 100 pixels. Alright. Next, we're going to give it a height, and even the height we're going to still make it 100 pixels. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a background color because there are colors they popping. We're going to give it a background color of red. Let's give it red because if you check this circle, you'll see red, popping, blue, and green. So are the three colors. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a border of black. Border, we're going to give it 1 pixel solid, and I'm going to give it a black. Right now, this is the border. Let me show the border. Border is just the little black around the circle. That's little black. That is the border. So that is what will give 1 pixel. If you're taking it, it's going to look thicker. That's if you add this number here, it's going to look thicker. But one is just perfect. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to give it an animation duration. I'm going to give it animation duration, and I'm just going to give it 2 seconds. Yes, we're going to give it 2 seconds. The next thing is to give it a border radius. But before then, I think let's view our project and see what we have. I'm going to tap here and I'm going to right click, then I'll copy that. But then there's another way of doing it, which you can just right click here and then open with live server. But that is if you must have um, installed this extension coming here. Yes, I have it, so but I'm going to teach us how we're going to open it without that extension. I just copy the path and I'm going to move here and I'm going to paste it. Let's see what we have. So this is what we're having, and it's not blinking, but then it's carrying the border and the red color. So let's go back, guys. Next thing we're going to do is to give it a border radius, which is going to make it circle, because looking at it we are not having that circle shape. So we're going to give it a border radius, and it's going to be 50% for it to be rounded that way. So let's go back, refresh, and see what we have. Now we have a circle. Great. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to give it, and we're going to give the animation a name. So I'm just going to choose animation name, and from that I'm going to give it, we're going to give it any name of your choice. I'm going to give it a circular motion, circular, circular cycle. Okay, no movement. Let's call it that. Okay, guys. So the next thing we're going to do is to give it an animation count, and that I'm going to select this, and with that I'm going to give it infinite. Yes, let's give it that way. So the next thing, that is just to help it move, and then the animation direction is going to, animation direction, which is okay, is going to be alternate. So let's see what we have, guys. Let's see what we have. Refresh it, and alright, that is what we're having. So the next thing we're going to do, the color is just one, so it's not popping. So we're going to change the color now, and to do that we need the keyframe to do that. So I'm just going to click shift and then press add and put key, and you can just enter. You have keyframe. Now this cycle, this identifier is going to, is the identifier, is the animation name, sorry. So I'm just going to copy it, and then we're going to replace it with this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to give it, the next thing we're going to do is to move the colors as from red. So I'm going to do from, and give it this, and then give it a background color, and I'm going to give it red. Yes, so we have from red, and then the next one that we need is to, so from that color to, then we're going to give it a background color of green, background color of green. Okay, so we have it this way. Now let's refresh it and see it should start moving by now. Good. So it's now moving red and green. But some things are missing. If you check this one, is bigger and it's at the middle. So we're going to shift it, and then we're going to make it look more smoother as it's going to move, so it doesn't just shine like that way. Now to do that, we're going to give it a 50% a smoothness or free movement, let's call it that. And to do that, I'm just going to say 50%, just going to say 50%, and I'm going to do that, and then we're going to give it a width. This is where we're going to increase the size, a width, and I'm going to make it 200 pixels. Let's call it that, 200 pixels. Then I'm going to give it a height of, I'm going to give it a height of 200 pixels as well. Yes, and then Last but not the least is the last color that is popping, which is the third color, and it's color blue. So we're going to see give it a background color of blue this time around. So guys, let's go back and refresh and see what we have. So we have this in popping that way in three colors: red, blue, and green. Beautiful. Then the next thing we're going to do is to shift it to the middle, just like this one, the way it is. We're going to move it away from that, and to do that we are going to pick the parent container, which is this. I'm going to pick the parent container and style it. So let's go ahead and copy it. Then we're going to move to style, and I need it to be the first, so I'm just going to I'm just going to shift down, and since this one is a class, we're not going to use hash again, we're going to use dot, because class is dot. Then I'm pasting what I've copied. Then I'm going to do the usual stuff, and what we need to do now is just to give it a height. I'm going to give it a height, and this time we're not going to use a height of 100. Okay, no pixel again. Let's give it a VH, and the next thing we're going to do is to give it a width, and the width is going to be 100 and not pixel but VW. Yes, and then the next thing we are going to do, we're going to display it flex. This is to then to display it flex. Going to display it flex. So the next thing we're going to do is to justify the content by justifying content, and then we're going to say center. Last but not the least of what we're going to do is to align the items to the center, which is what we actually want, and I'm going to select center. Guys, let's refresh and hope it works. And boom, we have our animated circle booming and looking great. Okay, so let's go back. Let me see, guys. Let's do something tricky. Let's say I change this to one. So let's see what we have. So you know why that is like that. So you see what we're having. So the shape is a little twisted. Now, okay, let's leave it there. Let's change this one to 100, and let's see what we have. And boom, we have it shaking this way. So guys, I'm going to just increase the size of this bulb, making it look bigger, and it's going to look finer, I guess. So let's see. Let's refresh it and see what we have. Wow, guys, this is it. So guys, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow for more videos like this. Thank you, and God bless you.